Okay. We should be back.
Gotta go chat. See you tomorrow.
Shut up. You guys are losers. Did that fix it? That did fix it. Okay, now it's actually properly going live on YouTube. Perfect. Let me triple check, make sure the audio doesn't go through. I hope I don't get fucking turbo fucked for that mistake earlier. Oh my god. I can't believe I've been streaming for how many hours now? My music's been going to YouTube. I deleted that. Hopefully they'll go through my other VODs and see that I never do that shit. Oopsies. Okay. Now let's see if the multi-chat starts working. It does say that it could take up to 5 minutes for the multi-chat to connect to YouTube. Okay, let me double check the audio on YouTube. I'm going to play music for just a second here, and it should not go through to YouTube. But unfortunately now, because it auto-connected to YouTube this way, the delay's back. I wonder if I can edit that while the stream is live. Edit video details, customization. I don't think it's going to let me adjust that while the stream is live. Unless maybe I go this way. No, I can't adjust it while the stream is live. I wonder if there's a way I can set it to do low latency mode. Through this. It's not going to let me adjust any settings while I'm live now. Okay, that's interesting though. Okay, let's see. Connected to YouTube chat successfully. Test. Yo, it worked. Fuck yeah. Woo. Okay, now let's triple check the audio. Okay, good. No music on YouTube. Perfect. Woo. I hope I don't get in trouble for that mistake earlier. Hopefully deleting the VOD is enough to prevent that shit. Uh-oh. No shot, I just fucking broke that window. No fucking shot. What did I just do? There we go, that fixed it. Oh, you know what I need to do? We need to take my Drac. My Wukong should be level 65 now. I did quickly look over my Twitch recap. I streamed 2,234 hours. I did 336 streams on 303 days. I streamed 303 out of 365 days. My highest stream was 3,015 views. My biggest fans are John Avaklov, Dong Feng Bubai Wabs, Vitozilla, Averona, at Walmart, Kinjara, Zerker, and Orphic. Top collaborators are Divios, Biseptimus, and Kinjara. I think that was because we did the collaboration stream for Orzekia? When Orzekia came out, I think it was. Biseptimus rated me the most, followed by what's her name? She's from Taiwan. Oh my god, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. She's still streaming right now? No. Sheep! Cadmium sheep. Thank you. Yes. Cadmium sheep. And then Grimkill. I sent 289 raids. Hey, out of 360 streams, and I think 30 of those streams, or 330 streams on 330 days, it means there was only 11 days that I fucked up and didn't send out raids. I rated Divios the most, followed by Norelio and then Grimkill. Fortunately, I never get to raid by Septimus because he's always finishing before me. Top viewed clip was me hitting my deck awaken weapon. A total of 13.7 million points spent on my channel. I gained 5,000 followers this year. And then as a viewer, I watched for 3,451 hours. So I always leave a stream on. I always do. Distinct days visited, 359 out of 365. Your favorite streamers, Norelio, Divios, Choice, Biseptimus, and It's Just In Case. Biseptimus would be number one if he wasn't always ending his stream like 2 hours after I wake up, but I blame the time zones for that. It's actually crazy how close Biseptimus is to those other guys, though. You don't like Blue Squadron? I don't do a lot of stream watching in the later evenings. It's more in the mornings and the afternoons, and he's always streaming in the evenings. I bet he'd be like number 6 or 7, though. I use the Zeth Leave emote the most, Zeth Hay the second most, Zeth Thrive third, Zeth R fourth, and Zeth Lude fifth. I've sent 2,000 mods chat. I'm a moderator in 4 chats. I'm kind of a big deal. I made 11 clips. My most watched clip was, I think, me getting my merchant ring piece. Yeah. See. Level 66, right? 65. Boom! Wait, what? How is that so little? Did I collect it just before I went? I guess I went in 8, didn't I? Watch my most popular clip. It's important. Oh, God. Do I even want to know what it is? Oh, God. Oh, fuck. That fucking clip. I hate you, Dragor. I don't even know why I say stupid shit like that. I don't know what possesses me. I don't know what possesses me to say stupid shit like that. That's your sub sound? Yeah, I'm gonna DMCA you. Either that or you gotta pay me royalties. Nice buffs. Oh, shit. No wonder why shit's feeling tough out here. I have a question, you guys. For somebody who streams more than I do and typically averages anywhere between 3 to 4 times the viewers, how do they have half the amount of chat messages typed over the year in their chat? Don't answer that, chat. Rhetorical. Messages cost additional money. Oh, you guys are paying? Yo, what? Where's my cut? You guys are paying to type in my chat. Is that how that works? Is that what you're talking about? Name names? No. I like pointing at the humor about it. Like I said, this isn't a hill I'm dying on, but I do find... I do like to find things funny, you know? Turkey's up! Shit. Hasn't Turkey been up for like 7 minutes? I guess the little guys don't matter, do they? Fuck it, we're going to the turkey. We're going turkey. It's funny how it works sometimes. The host buffs are insane. Yeah, it would be nice if I fucking got him. Get over here, you little goblin motherfucker. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom.
Pay to win.
Don't worry about it. Put down your wallet. It's cool. This one's on me. Go have another. Yeah, I've got it covered. It's the least I can do.
Dragor. You funny bastard. Hey, Dragor, I should send something to you. Let me know what you think. Valkia, way too generous. Way too generous. You do way too much for me to be donated to me. Let me know what you think of that, Dragor. It's this egg that gives the house buffs, right? Never. Never any goddamn house buffs. Why do I come up to this shit again? This was my top clip. What's this? Wait, what? Yo, you rat! You rat! You little bitch! You see him scurry away? I don't get. What do you think, Dragor? Banger? Complete banger? You're inspired now? Oh, hell yeah. Dragor inspired? That's a weapon unleashed. Here, I'll play a song for you guys.
Another year, another no furniture buff.
Yeah. Oh, God, why?
Yippee, oh boy.
What about this banger? Or was this clip? This is probably something stupid. Oh, of course, it's that one. No, here's a banger of a song. That was a weird recommendation from Spotify. New Calcium Ball countdown drops. Yeah. Menzie, did you see the stream title? God damn it. This Menzie guy. This fucking Menzie guy. And the pin message. Yeah. There's no helping him. There's no saving him. He's too far gone. He's too far gone. Huh? What are you talking about, Janai song? Oh, I don't know what that song was I just played. Spotify just recommended something really. That's what happens when you put that YouTube or Spotify Enhance on, right? It just throws in random songs. If there's any correlation with that song to anybody that you know, it's purely coincidence. Yeah, that's the best way to the heart. If they say the fastest way through someone's heart is through their stomach, well, you can also get to their stomach from their anus. And at least their anus doesn't have teeth. You try to go down their throat, they might bite. Okay. You and me both, fella. You and me both. Ooh, BA1 EU, you guys get your GM buffs. Man, it's already noon? What the hell? Where's the day going? There's only one issue with this multi-chat. When I click a link in chat, it doesn't open immediately. There's like a 1 second delay. So like I'll click it. I've already done this twice now where I click it and it's like nothing happens. So I click it like a couple more times because nothing's popping up. And then all of a sudden, fucking 10 tabs open. I gotta get used to just clicking it and just knowing, just trusting that it's gonna come through. What type of buff? It's like a drop rate buff, XP. Oh, what's this song? Oh, I accidentally fucked that up. Oh, damn it. I fucking hate this spot whenever I'm trying to do something on my other monitor. No, that's not it. What I'm looking for. Yeah, this shit ain't working properly right now. What the fuck? Maybe I gotta drag this out to its own tab. Did that fix it? Try not to die to mobs while doing this. Ugh. There we go. Now it's working. Oh my god, what's that fucking voice at the beginning there? That's some crazy tune. What a goofy sounding song, though. What a goofy sounding song. Yeah. I mean, that took you, what, 5 minutes? I have a bad habit of taking a little too long tailoring lyrics. I always end up putting like a few hours into the lyrics. And the crazy thing is I always end up wanting to be a lot more specific, but then I realize it just being too specific. I'm not a lyrical genius, and it just ends up being a little too wordy. So I end up having to dial it back and make it a little more like you understand, but it's not as specific, right? Oh hell yeah, Dragor. I could play it on stream or privately. I don't know if you care which, but I totally want to hear that. I've actually been working on a song that I'm making for my wife, talking about our journey. And I've been slowly fine-tuning it. It's not done yet, but I plan on sending it to her for Christmas. You can play on stream? Okay. Is it The Climb by Hannah Montana? No, it's Friday by fucking, what's her name? Friday. Oh, I better not fucking start singing or YouTube's gonna get mad at me. Okay, let's see. This is a Dragor hit, chat. Let me make sure it's not getting saved to the VOD, just so I don't have to worry about it going to YouTube or getting... Okay, perfect. Fire on the water. Ooh, I like the name. Is this like smoke on the water, but just before the fire? Or just before the smoke? Ooh, I love me some piano. This is gonna be like some blues? Wait, this isn't you singing, right? Is this you singing? It is. I was gonna say it doesn't sound like the AI. No, Dragor sent me a song that he sang before too that he covered. Ooh, a little background singing in there. You ever need a background singer? You know to look up. Menzies, of course. That so back up a little bit. I think that's called. My daughter does singing lessons. Let me see. That's vibrato, if I'm not mistaken, right? Where you're oscillating, like going up and down there with your voice. I haven't seen AI do that without it being blatantly obvious. Yo, I like Shabuzi. Oh my god. So from what I understand from what Dragor said is he used AI to make like the framework of the song, then he spent a fuckload of time refining the lyrics, and then he ripped the voice out of it and did his own singing over it instead. For those of you who don't know, Dragor actually does performing. He typically performs every Friday night. Typically, there's a pole around. He's in a Speedo. He's kind of prolific. No, that was really good, Dragor. You're a hell of a singer. Oh God, no. Yeah. And that's when they bring out the bucket and the mop. So, like I was telling you guys, my daughter does singing. She's been doing singing lessons for a few years now. She's getting really good, and it's getting to the point now where I'm thinking of investing in like a good microphone and stuff for my streaming setup, but not primarily for me, but for her, for when she's like wants to record things for like competitions and stuff. Instead of her just singing to a telephone that's doing like very rough audio, it'd be nice to have better quality audio, right? So I'm actually thinking of getting like a good mic for that. In a month, my daughter's actually old enough to be on stream. So maybe I could get her to sing a song for you guys. What AP do you think I should swap from DSR Tungrad to Adonia? Whatever the recommended AP says for the Adonia spots. The recommended AP in the Monster Zone info is pretty accurate these days. Some classes there's obviously a little bit of flexibility, but pretty close, right? Well, people typically, like, the Garmoth numbers themselves should be taken with a grain of salt. It's about the relative difference between the spots, right? That's what's important. Because when you're trying to look at, like, a grind spot, a specific grind spot in there, and you see what the average people are making, you gotta remember that average is including the good grinders and the bad grinders, right? And with 5% caps, right, the variation between the good grinders and the bad grinders is definitely going to be a lot more heavily aired towards the bad grinders because the ceiling is so tight now. So typically, like, if you're an okay grinder, you should be able to do above the average on there. But like I was saying, like, the specific numbers of each grind spot aren't as important as the difference between spots. Because, yeah, you could make the argument that people are bad at reporting, but people are going to be equally bad at reporting across all the spots, right? So if you see a spot that's 10% better, sure, the numbers at both spots are probably bad, but if the relative difference between them is 10%, you could assume that both groups of people who are reporting either of the spots are also reporting equally as bad, right? Nightmare blunt rotation. Huh? I don't get it. What was your recap again? Death Divios, Frosty, Armand Blue. Why is that a nightmare blunt? I don't get it. What's a nightmare blunt? What? Oh my god. I mean, the second entry there is Nightmare Blunt Rotation is a game where a group of 3+ people take turns hitting a blunt and passing it between them until the firework inside ignites and it becomes a game of hot potato before the firework detonates, typically burning or wounding whoever is holding it. Yeah. That sounds kind of crazy, that game. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, he seems in general to be a pretty good dude. That second last day of AOS, though, when he streamed it, you could see the demons were starting to come out inside of him. Normally he's super PMA, but man, there was some, you could see the thoughts rolling through his head and some of it slipping through the cracks. I can't even imagine the shit he was saying on that last day. He wasn't streaming his games, but he was having some PC issues. I bet there was some fucking words said. A Justin Banger? What's this? The hell? That is a weird clip, Menzie. That is a weird clip. Yeah. Twitch streamers should be able to report people to Twitch for weird clips, and if enough streamers report the same person, it should revoke their clipping privileges. That's a new feature we need. No. Well, you make a strong argument. I guess not. Then Pistanity's gonna be out of a job? Yeah. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't think Pistanity likes me. 9 times out of 10, the only clips he uses on my stream are clips that paint me in a negative light. And there was... He always seems to heart and, or favorite or whatever pin comments that talk shit about me too. And it's, at first I was like, oh, he just has a habit of, you know, like, he'll upload a video and then like 24 hours later, he'll just heart all the first comments on the video, right? But there was a video that he released like a month ago or something, and like 3 weeks after the video release, somebody made a comment on it about me, and he fucking pinned that to the top too. I was like, oh my god, I actually think Pistanity just doesn't fucking like me. What the hell? Valid? Shut up, you little dragon bastard. Where was it? YouTube Studio. I can't wait. Every single griffin that gets close to me, I'm gonna fucking flag up and zap it out of the air. Five years? Holy shit, Abyssal, what are you doing with your life? Oh my god, even worse for him. Is it mentions? The viewer posts? No. I'm trying to find where I saw that now. Maybe it was here. No. Oh, maybe I gotta get out of studio. Notifications. No, it's not there. I still suck so much on it with the YouTube shit. Maybe... Maybe it's on here. No. Wouldn't have been that long ago. Shit, I gotta go AFK for a second anyways. I'll be back. Okay, where would it have been? It wouldn't have been that long ago. Oh, maybe here. No, not here either. Maybe here? No. Where on YouTube can you find where you've made comments on videos and... Where the fuck is that? I am a fucking boomer. Posts? Oh, wait. No, that's not it. That's for my own channel. I'm not 70. Shut up. Congratulations on my retirement. Get out of here. What a great viewer name. Bleep bloop. Yeah, no, I take no offense. I completely understand. And I know the channel you're planning on following, and I have a feeling you're gonna get banned real quick. Oh, shit. The awareness maker, yeah. The real question is, shut up, Vicious. Shut up. No name dropping. Let's be honest. Anybody who is even remotely aware with how Twitch works doesn't need a name. They all know. At the end of the day, you know, this is a battle Twitch should be fighting, right? And it's an arms race, right? Just like with people trying to pirate games or cheat on games, right? It's an arms race between Twitch, right, trying to add more preventative measures, and the people who are trying to stay ahead of those preventative measures and continue to cheat the system. It's a problem that will never go away. The only thing we could ask for is Twitch making an active effort. So, all we can do is just kind of sit back and just laugh. That's it. Yeah. It is, right? You can go to there's plenty of websites that will exactly track your Twitch channels, your viewership, your chat interaction, and all those things, right? And there's some heavy deviation between channels. That is normal depending on the style of the channel, right? But there's a certain type of deviation that is similar across all channels if they're doing something like view botting. And it's blatantly obvious. Once you learn how to identify what that is, it becomes blatantly obvious everybody who's doing it. But for example, when I'm talking about normal deviation, you guys, there are games where, like FPS games, right? People who hang out in chats in FPS games typically aren't sitting there chatting at the same time, right? While they're playing. It's not like a game like BDO. Like, if they're playing the FPS game, 100% of their attention is on the game. Actually, you know what? Maybe a better example is how Twitch has kind of changed in terms of chat activity, right? Now that we have more difficult grind spots where if you stop and type in when you're at any of like these Idania spots, you can die, right? Where before with BDO, you could AFK in a lot of the spots and you wouldn't have to worry about dying. So it was a lot easier for people to just stop and type. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this. There's probably lots of times where there's shit I'm talking about and you're waiting for that AFK phase to start so you can type, and you gotta hope that the conversation isn't over and moved on by the time you hit the AFK phase. Yeah, unless you're like a suck warrior. Yeah, if you're a suck warrior, you just hit Q and you're good. Deathian, I've died for you. Think about that. I've died for my Septimus too, trying to type in his chat. Yeah, at DSR you can step to the side, which is nice, and one of the main reasons why I really miss DSR. But yeah, as for an FPS game, for example, people who are watching other people play FPSs, they're typically not lurking while they're playing. They're actively watching. Because you don't want to be like, you're not playing Call of Duty or Counter-Strike while listening to a streamer play it. Because you're going to hear a gunshot in the distance on stream, and you're going to be like, oh fuck, and you're going to flip your camera around, there's nobody there, right? Or vice versa, right? If you just start tuning it out because you think it's from the stream, it might end up costing you a round, right? So, like, different games will have different viewer styles, and that will deviate chat activity. But one of the biggest and most noticeable metrics of when somebody is, like, trying to think of the word to use. I mean, I guess we'll just use the real word. View botting, right? How their stream viewer count grows is one of the absolutely giant red flags of their minute. The minute their stream goes live to 15 minutes into it, their stream will grow disproportionately faster and ramp up disproportionately faster at such an obnoxious rate that it's blatantly obvious. Where you will have streamers like Shroud, for example, Co-Carnage, like any of these streamers that are super huge streamers, the ratio is relatively the same, even to slightly smaller streamers, right? Into smaller streamers, right? Sure, they'll jump from 0 to 1,000 a lot faster, but their peak is a lot higher, right? So that curve of growth as the stream goes live into the first couple hours is very predictable and similar, unless there's like some super event that they've been hyping up that people are waiting for, right? But streams that appear to be blatantly viewbotting, there's this immediate jump within like a 15-minute window that is way disproportionately larger than even the largest streamers on the platform. Not just that too, Vicious, but if you pay attention to the category being streamed in as well, they might be streaming, for example, you'll still see that in their analytics, but you'll see someone else who streams in the same category that's more popular than them, and if that person passes them, all of a sudden you will see a secondary spike that is a clear attempt to make sure that they're above the person who went live and is getting higher than them as well. Who's viewbotting now? This isn't about naming and shaming. We're just talking about how the data screams, right? Once you know where the data is and start looking at it, it screams. I have zero interest in doing like a war campaign against people who are doing bad things. This is not a hill I want to die on or fight on. Because ultimately, it's something that Twitch needs to actively be working on because it's their platform, right? But if it is something that does interest the viewer and you guys are interested in like understanding what some people are talking about within this regard, there are websites that track stream analytics. And like I said, if you spend some time going through different streams, similar size streams, start paying attention to what they're streaming, like if they're doing events and stuff like that, you'll start to notice that there's trends in data, right? There's multiple variables, but there's trends depending on the variables, and the variables can compound on each other. But then there's some people who, even when you have these compounding things on other channels, their data, for some reason, still blows theirs, the other streamers who are more popular, out of the water, and it doesn't make any sense. There's no logical reason behind it other than just one. And it's not just one data point either, right? It's about looking at a whole variety of data points and realizing that, sure, maybe one data point might be an outlier, right? Maybe an anomaly. But then you start looking for different data points, right? And you realize all of them, every single different way you could potentially measure a channel, all points to the exact same thing. Then you start to say, okay, something's not adding up, right? If it looks like a duck and it sounds like a duck, it might be a duck. Maybe it's a goose, though. And if it's a goose, you better fucking run. There's a reason why in Canada we call them cobra chickens. OnlyFans is my backup, Menzies. When my streaming career fails, which it eventually will, it'll be time for me to take on OnlyFans. I'll have to get the stamp of approval from the wife, though. That's Plan B instead of Plan D. You know what? You're right. It should actually not even Plan D. It should be like Plan Z. Oh, shit. Oh my god, Menzies. Oh, fuck. That picture. Holy. Oh, that reminds me though. I do need to check something. I put payments on some things, and for some reason they didn't go through yesterday. I gotta make sure that money didn't disappear to the void. Maybe the bank's just being slow. When I went on my little trip last Monday, I paid off. Good, it did go through. When I go on a trip, I always keep my credit card paid off, right? And when I go on a trip and stuff like that, I have a credit card that I use for that whole trip. So when I get home, I can look at the history and like I know like, okay, I did this, I did that, and I can cross-reference it and make sure there isn't any additional charges or make sure everything is appropriate. And I just did that recently. And then I put a payment on when I got home after I made sure everything was good. And for some reason it didn't go through, but it looks like it went through now. So and boom, that one went through too. Perfect. Which does remind me though, I actually gotta book some flight tickets tonight. I'm gonna be going to Niagara next year for another dance competition for my daughters, which will be cool. My kids will get to see Niagara Falls. Fun fact, my oldest daughter was once at Niagara Falls, but she was swimming around in my wife's belly the last time my wife and I went there. So even though she was technically there, unless she had a periscope sticking up between my wife's legs, she didn't get to see it. Oh, shit. Oh wait, maybe it's there. Is that it? Oh no, that's Twitch. Duh. God, oh my god. I need something new to do with chicken thighs tonight, you guys. Normally I'll get like a nice little crispy skin in a pan and then finish them off in the oven. Or I'll grill them. I don't know. Feeling like doing something new. They got the bone in, but I can debone them easily. I'm thinking of deboning them. Curry and rice. I'd have to make my own curry. I have curry powder and all that. We don't... Oh, we're out of rice, though. Never mind. If I was going to do something like that, too, I'd want some naan bread, and I don't have any of that as well. I like making a nice little garlic naan when I'm making stuff like that. Get like some olive oil, dice up some garlic in it, and just let it sit for a couple of hours. And then brush that shit on the naan bread and warm it up in the oven. Oh my god, it's so fucking good. You missed Awakened DK being good at PV. Is it not good at PV anymore? It's probably still good. It's just not God tier. But yeah, it was God tier for a while there. Might be more than I'm looking for though. Yeah, just I'd certainly be interested in hearing it out. It might be more. I gotta get my daughter to dance for 5, and I pick her up at 2:30. I got 30-minute window where I can do like a bit of my cooking and prep, and then I gotta go pick up my youngest daughter, and then I have like 30 minutes to finish cooking and feed them. So I mean, there's a lot of easy things to do. Like I could shake and bake it, or just sear it in a pan and make like a little pan sauce. Oh, I do have hamburger helper, but I don't have any beef pulled out. It's all frozen. I hate cooking beef from, like, ground beef from frozen. Such a pain in the ass. I like to make sure that it's thawed out properly first. But I actually really like hamburger helper, but I don't have shit prepared for that tonight. That soy marinade brine, yeah, that'd be okay, but honestly, I have some San Marzina tomatoes in my cupboard. A can of them. Maybe I debone the thighs, take the skin off, beat them down flat, bread them, air fry them, or bread them and fry them, and then put some Parmesan and some homemade tomato sauce on them. Have a little chicken parm. That sounds good. I had some noodles in the cupboard too. Soy, mirin, sake, sesame oil, garlic. I don't have any mirin or sake right now. Sake wouldn't last long in this house. I fucking love hot sake. Whenever I go out for like sushi and if they offer hot sake with my meal, I cannot resist.
It is so good. I love the way that, like, it pairs so well with sushi because it, like, really opens your sinuses. Right? Between the warmth and the alcohol in it, it just warms up and opens up your sinuses. And it's like it opens up your palate just for, like, a higher level of tasting. And then you get that nice little wasabi, or in most cases, dyed horseradish,
which is still delicious, but obviously not real wasabi. But you get some of that in there too. Ooh, I want sushi so bad now. They would make fun of people who drank hot because it meant the sake was bad. Really? I like it because of the warmth. It just opens up your sinuses and stuff. I feel like it helps prepare your palate. It's almost like you know how they serve ginger as well with a lot of sushi to kind of like refresh your palate. If you're like you eat one thing, then you could have a little bit of ginger, and then it kind of prepares you for the next thing if you're gonna try something different. I feel like hot sake kind of works in a similar way as using ginger to kind of like refresh your palate.
You live inland somewhere? Oh, I absolutely do. Yes. If it weren't for this ocean-sized lake beside me, I'd be almost as far inland as you could possibly get. Yeah, and I bet you would down it with a glass of cranberry juice too, wouldn't you, Beefy Pounder? What? Never mind. Why do I even engage in conversations with you? Holy. First time seeing them here, and if you keep yapping, it's gonna be the last time too. Oh, what? Mingus? You mean Menzies? Is Mingus? Not a chance. There's no world where you're convincing us to call you that. My girlfriend loves doing, I don't know what kind of sushi that is, sushi or hot pot sushi. The place across the harbor from me does albacore sliders. Okay, from fish caught the same day. Ooh, see, I wish I lived closer to the ocean because I know the sushi I have that I get here doesn't even compare. It's not even close. Yeah, I'm always grinding. We have to spend so much on sushi and stuff here too, any type of seafood, because of transportation costs and shit. It's annoying, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. When I was in LA, maybe I should have tried to go down there a day earlier, but last year PA flew me down to LA, and I would have liked to try some sushi while I was there. There was actually a sushi place near the place that I stayed at, but I was only there for really the 2 days. Well, ended up being 3 days, but I spent one whole day in the goddamn fucking airport. But the day I arrived, I had technical difficulties getting my SIM card working internationally when I landed, so I ended up having to spend an hour in the airport after landing, just making sure I resolved that off their Wi-Fi. And then when I got to the hotel that I was staying at, their systems were down, so I spent like an hour waiting for them to troubleshoot that and get it figured out. So by time and then I went to order food to the hotel, and I didn't realize that my Uber Eats was still thinking that I was in Ottawa, not in LA, which is on the east coast of Canada, not the west coast of the United States. So I ordered food, and then I immediately realized that I was ordering from a restaurant in Ottawa. So I went to cancel that order, and it was annoying because I had a 50% off coupon to use, so I used it on that order. And then when I canceled my order, it consumed the coupon and charged me a $15 cancellation fee. So then when I went to actually order from LA, I then had to pay full price. So I was not, I like, man, it was just a series of events that was pissing me off. But when I got the food I got was fantastic. I got like a nice steak with a chimichurri. There was some seared Brussels sprouts and like a balsamic vinegar and some type of potatoes. I can't remember. It might have been just basic mashed potatoes. But it was really good. I really enjoyed the meal. It was from like a nice local place. And anyways, that was my first day there. The next day, I wake up, I get ready. Perlibus picks me up. We do all of our things that day. They take us out for lunch. For some reason, like, I'm fucked up that day. And I end up just not feeling great. And I end up skipping out on dinner. I went for lunch with them. I wasn't even able to finish my lunch. I had to take it to go. Luckily, they had a refrigerator in the office. Went back to the office. We did all the things that we had to do, right, that I was flown there to do. I got to try out Crimson Desert and talk about a bunch of things, meet a bunch of people. And after all that was done, it was supposed to be just a fun time and go out for dinner and whatnot. And I was just so fucked up that I just had to go back to my room, which ended up being a blessing in disguise. I was bummed out because I didn't get to actually spend much time with Etsu because he was working the whole time. But he came out for dinner that evening, and unfortunately I wasn't there. So I felt kind of bad missing out on going out to dinner with those guys. But when I got back to the hotel, I ate my dinner and went to bed early because I was feeling like shit, which ended up being, like I said, a blessing in disguise. Because I arrived, my flight was supposed to leave at, I think boarding was supposed to be around 11 or 12 noon. And I arrived 2 hours early because I wanted to stop at some gift shops and get something for my kids. So I arrived a couple hours early for my flight. And I go to check in, and my flight has been delayed 3 hours. Which creates a whole bunch of problems. For one, I'm already at the airport much earlier than I need to be. But now I'm going to have to spend an extra 3 hours in the LA airport. So my flight didn't end up arriving until 5. Or we didn't end up leaving till around 5 p.m. Well, I guess it was 2 p.m. LA time. Or... wait, would have been 11... yeah, 2 p.m., which creates a problem because my flight, I actually had a 30... it was somewhere between a 30 to a 1 hour transfer window to get to my next flight to get home, my connecting flight. And because my flight was 3 hours late, that means I missed my connecting flight in Toronto. So I ended up having to spend the night in the Toronto airport, which was not fun at all either. I ended up watching all 3 Equalizers there. I got a video of me, or a picture of me laying on the Toronto airport floor. But, yeah, it ended up kind of good that I went back to my hotel because I ended up getting a few extra hours of sleep. If I didn't get those few extra hours of sleep, I might have ended up in on a no-fly list. I was so pissed off, and if I was also like really tired, I wouldn't have been able to handle it as well as I did. I was so pissed. Not pissed at anybody specifically, because I understand, right? The weather's the weather. The reason why my flight was delayed was the flight that was supposed to pick me up in LA, right? So basically they have a crew in Toronto that flies to LA for the first half of their shift, right? They take a break while the plane's boarding, and then they fly back home, right? And that's their shift for the day. Well, that flight couldn't get out of Toronto early that morning because there was a really bad storm over Toronto, right? So they ended up having to leave a few hours late. So I can't blame them, right? They're erring on the side of caution, but it just created a super annoying situation for me. But because of all this, yeah, I didn't actually get to spend much time doing much in LA, which was kind of a bummer. Something really funny, though, that happened in the LA airport, right? When I found out my flight was delayed and it was, you know, it was just before noon, I decided to go get lunch from one of the restaurants in the airport. And it was some burger place. I can't remember the name of it, but it had like a little kiosk, like 3 kiosks that you could walk up to place your order instead of going to the cashier or whatever. And I thought I would do that to look through the orders and stuff. So I found something I wanted. I ordered it. It asks to put your name on it, so I put my name on it. And I don't think anything of it, right? While I'm doing it, there's a guy next to me who does the exact same thing, right? Obviously not thinking anything of that. All of a sudden, I'm standing there, right, waiting for my order, and the guy who's at the till looks at the ticket on the other tray, looks up at us, and he goes, "You both wouldn't happen to be Chris, would you?" And we're both like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, you guys both ordered the exact same thing, and both of your names are Chris." The one nice thing though, because my flight was delayed, it was an empty flight. I ended up having all 3 seats to myself. The plane was only half full, because I guess a lot of people just rescheduled their flight. So that was the one good thing. I didn't have to worry about sitting shoulder to shoulder with anybody. 3rd place? Yo, who's 1st and 2nd? Let me guess. Honey Bunny, XO, and Amaranth. Actually, I don't think Amaranth streams on Twitch anymore, does she? Ooh, let's see. Oh, I don't have any bacon. I have carrots, I have onion. Oh, 1 second. I do have mushrooms. Oh, excuse me. Got garlic. Got tomato paste. Oh, I got a homemade chicken stock I made too. Actually, I might have 3 cups of it. I don't have... Yeah, I was going to say I got wine, but I don't have cooking wine. Thyme, butter, cornstarch, pepper. The only thing I don't have is the bacon. Asmongold and Raxantarax. Yo, wait a minute. I'm up there with Asmon? Let's go. I don't know who Rax is. Yep. So that recipe looks fantastic to me, but my daughter doesn't like mushrooms, and my wife isn't crazy about tomatoes in anything except for pasta. Asmon's a clout roach? I don't know about that. I mean, he has enough clout for himself. ARPG, good guy, blue hoodie. Oh, I think I know who you guys are talking about now when you say Rax. Gotcha. That definitely looks good too, Cavell. What do I hope to see in the Calpheon Ball? I have 2 bingo cards. What I hope to see and what I think we're likely to see. 1 second, I'll bring it up on screen. You guys can look at it. I should, oh fuck, I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. I should just keep this in my sources so it's easy to pull up. There it is. Oh, shit. Never mind. Wrong one again. There it is. So the left side is what I want. Things that I want. The things on the right, I think, are the things that are likely to be there. Remove Guild League announcement? Oh, I'm not editing it now. It's just already crossed off. I'm not going through and editing it. Fuck that. It's crazy to me how much I get flamed every time I mention that I watch Asmon. It's because Asmon Gold has very, very talked about political views. He wears them as a badge, right? And of course, when you do that, when you're willing to go against the go against the flow, you're just gonna have, you know, a ton of haters. I personally like Asmongold. I agree with a lot of his opinions. I don't agree with all of them. I think it's funny. I like the way he articulates his points. It cracks me up. I like his style of sarcasm. So we might get surface level updates with some content, and some content with some sprinkled in, rewards sprinkled in, yeah. My concern is, this is my biggest concern with this ball, is we know Crimson Desert is coming out in March. I'm worried that they're going to be doing the bare minimum with this ball, hoping to give us just enough hype and stuff to do to get us along until March. And then they're going to look at the Crimson Desert as being our filler until the Heidel ball. And don't get me wrong, I'm excited to play Crimson Desert. But I hope that's not the case. I hope they're not going to use Crimson Desert as a filler for BDO content. Dragor, you cannot resist yourself. You cannot resist yourself. I know you can't. I know you can't. Console merge in March, then go down to monthly patches? Possibly. Uh-oh, there goes Dragor. How did I guess? How did I guess? Oh, Dragor. One of these days, I'm going to get tired of undoing these bans, and I'm just going to let it fucking stick. Because there's going to come a point where you're going to have nobody to blame but yourself. What do I think about universal costumes? I think there should be... Well, they can't do universal costumes. But I think there should be a wardrobe function where your costumes are stored. And for any costumes that are shared amongst classes, you should be able to wear it on any class. You shouldn't have to buy it on each class. There should be a wardrobe feature. That's like taking money from them. So, let's be honest. The people who swipe for one extra costume is a very small portion of their total revenue. The majority of the revenue is definitely coming from people going crazy with the Gamba boxes. You also have to remember, if you take away the annoying predatory monetization and make that feel less egregious, then people will be more willing to spend their money on other things. If somebody's willing to spend $100 on the game and they now don't have to spend it on a duplicate costume for another class, they might spend it on the Pearl Shop on something else. So it's not necessarily money lost, right? People will spend what they're willing to spend regardless. Let's see if that Wukong's level 65 yet. The thing is it's not a gamble, and it's something they've done in the past too. They tried quite well, to be honest, to remove a lot of the predatory monetization in the game. I don't know if you played the game that long, but they added the tag system to replace weapon swap coupons. People were making the exact same argument that you're making right now about them removing that. And that wasn't even a replacement, right? They didn't even replace it with something. It just changes the way people spend. But they removed you having to spend $90 to swap your weapons and just added the tag system so you could spend in-game currency. People wanted that, wanted the ability to do that, and so many people were always like, no, you're asking PA to that's going to affect their revenue. Well, that's the thing, right? And to my point is, at face value, if you just tunnel vision on that, it looks like it affects their revenue. But now that opens up a new stream of revenue, because once again, people who are willing to spend will then just spend the money on other things if they're not forced to spend the money on things that they don't want to spend on. So what ended up happening in that regard is, sure, people weren't spending money on weapon swap coupons anymore because they didn't have to, But now people were spending money on things for they're getting more weight for their alts because they're more willing to, they're more capable of re-rolling to alternate characters, right? That's how these types of changes in monetization work. The people who are willing to spend money would much rather spend it on things that they want to spend it on instead of things that they don't want to spend it on. I don't know if there's a single player in this game that has ever been excited about buying a costume and then having to buy the same costume on another character just to have it. It just makes the game more enjoyable for everybody. And like I said, the people who are willing to spend will find new ways to spend their money. They'll buy those, if they have that extra $30 in their pocket that they don't have to spend on a costume now, maybe they will go, oh, okay, well, you know what? I still feel like spending money. Maybe I will buy this mystery pack, right? Since I don't have to spend it on a costume. Oh my god, 0.3% away. God damn it. One more hour. Yeah, no, that's a huge problem that they currently have, and this is why I genuinely believe this time-gated content that they currently have with the armors is temporary. Because right now, most people, between doing your weekly bosses and just AFK fishing all week, that's enough money to sustain your clicks. So why would you swipe if you could just AFK in the game? You don't even have to play it. Now, as your enhancement levels get higher, and they will eventually start giving more stones, the next region, the next half of Adania might give up to 10 stones a week, maybe even more. It's going to get harder and harder to sustain. But having time-gated content puts a limit on how much people can are able to spend, right? Not literally limit it, but why would they swipe for extra crons if they can't use the crons to click anyways, right? So they definitely need to add more forms of progression. Otherwise, it's going to put a cap on the way they can monetize the game if they time gate everything. If they're going to exclusively try to monetize this game through progression, then capping progression, the speed of progression, caps the speed of revenue. They kind of go hand in hand with each other, right? The thing that's scaring me the most, though, about the way they're monetizing the game is the slippery slope. Like, I think we all agree there's the loose definition of pay to win, and there's the very egregious definition of pay to win. The loose one being what we mostly have in BDO right now, where you pay to progress, right? Where you can convert real money to in-game progression. Most of the people consider that pay to win, but it's not as egregious as if you had, like, let's say they added a cape to the Pearl Shop, right? That you could only earn through the Pearl Shop, and for every $100 you spent on it, you got 1 AP. If they added something like that, the game would be so blatantly pay to win that people would be like, nah, I'm out. Get the fuck out of here, right? Now, I worry that PA is leaning that way because they're not doing that with combat stats yet, but we are starting to see them lean towards that with life skilling, right? Between the fishing backpack, between the new hunting outfit, they're starting to give advantages that you can only get with real money to life skilling. And I'm worried that there is going to come a point where they're going to cross that line into your combat stats. Because they're inching closer and closer to that line. I think the balance problem, it's a problem, but it's an unsolvable problem. There isn't a game out there with as many classes as BDO that is balanced. You go to League, you go to WoW, you go to any other MMO out there, and you ask anybody who plays in that game, is this game balanced? They're gonna all say the exact same thing as we say in BDO, that the game is terribly balanced, these devs suck, whatever, right? I think making the game balanced is impossible. I think what they need to do is make sure it's at least reasonable. You're always going to have outliers where there's some classes that are overperforming and some underperforming. I think the main thing they need to focus on is rotating it. Make sure the environment is always changing, because when it's stagnant and always the same classes that are overpowered, the game starts
Getting really boring. You have to make sure it's constantly changing, because then it's not, oh fuck, this game is so unbalanced, this class is always dominating. It becomes more of like a waiting game where people are excited playing their class, waiting for it to become their turn again, right? Fair and fun greater than true balance, exactly. Make sure it's always rotating, and whenever there is anything that's overpowered, make sure it's within reason.
What was the second part of it? The lack of content, though, 100%. I think Edonia was a great release. One of the best regions they've released in a very long time. But we need more than just something that's going to wear out on us. Wears out on us faster than their patch cycle. If they want to grow the game's population, they need to release enough content that it lasts us longer than their patch cycle. So, because I drew this yesterday, we're going to draw it again, right? But if you have like your 12-month period here, so what is that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Pretend this last little thing doesn't. Here, I'll just erase it. Pretend this doesn't exist. There, now you don't have to pretend, right? If they release something new, right, the population spikes, but then as people play it, they experience it, they get bored of it, it runs out, and, then all of a sudden we're back down here. 6-month Heidel Ball, they release a bunch, the same amount of people come to the game, but then it's the same thing, and then it resets back here, right? And all you're really doing is just spinning your wheels. You're going through the same cycle, you have the same peaks, you have the same valleys, you're not really growing the player base. What they need to do is release more content, or release it more often, but set it up so it's instead, right? They release it. Oh, I saw the erase thing. They release it, but instead of dropping down, right? So let's say it jumps up like this. Instead of dropping down back to where it started the 6 months prior, release enough that it maintains people's attention enough that we only get to like here. And then we have the same jump, right? And then here, and then the same jump. They need more content. So, every 6-month cycle builds on the previous one. It has a little bit of remainder of the population that was drawn to the game still playing before it moves on to the next. But right now, it just feels like the game's on life support. And every 6 months, that's not the erase. Every 6 months, they give it a little zap, and it brings it back up to the baseline. But that's the thing. You're right. For Of Blood Unranked, I'm not talking about for people like me. I'm talking about for the base community, right? And because, if I play the game as much as I do, 8 hours a day, it doesn't matter what they do to the game. I'm addicted. I love this game. But for your average player, that's not the case. Most of the people who are playing this game are only playing for maybe a few hours every week. And they are getting tired and going and doing other things while they wait for the next ball. We need stuff that lasts longer for them. You're out for the day? Oh, thank God. This is a perfect song, Menzies. Why don't you beat it? Come around here. Don't wanna see your face, you better disappear. The fire's in their eyes and their words are really clear. So beat it. Just beat it. That flashbang was actually pretty well timed. PoE 2's announcement on Thursday? Yeah, maybe we'll stream it. If you remind me and if it's going on while I'm streaming. Do you know what time they plan on doing their announcement? Yo, what's up, Squirrelum? 11 a.m. PST. Oh, that's a problem. That's 2 p.m. my time, and I got to go pick up my daughter at 2:30, so I won't be around for the whole thing. Unless I tell my daughter to walk home. I really like PoE 2. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Do the VOD Friday then? Hey, yo. Yeah, I'll totally do that. That's a good idea. How funky strong is your fight? It doesn't matter who's wrong or right. Just beat it. Beat it. No one wants to be defeated. God, this song's such a fucking banger. This song always gets me hyped up. New Twitch drops? Yeah. Up to the Calpheon Ball. I think if you type the new drops command, it should show you what the drops are. Actually, I don't have a stream going on my side monitor. What the fuck? I'm gonna miss out on these drops. The thing is, the community fought so hard to get AP caps, and they don't realize it. They don't realize what... They didn't realize they were advocating for AP caps in spots. The community every single year, every single month, every single week would complain about PvE balance. And they don't realize that unless you homogenize all of the classes and make them all identical, you're never going to have PvE balance across classes. So the only other way to accomplish it is to then cap the spots, right? If you want to maintain class identity, that means you have to cap the spots. So all of the complaining people did, trying their best to get PA to do class balance, this is how you accomplish it. Now, even this doesn't create perfect balance, but in terms of potential, it's the closest it's ever been in BDO history. There's still some outliers, but the outliers aren't as far out as they used to be. Now the biggest differences between PvE balance isn't necessarily speed, but more so effort and comfort, right? How likely you are to die, like how squishy your class is, how good your sustain is, or how many buttons you have to press. PvP balance is cooked. It's so terrible today. It's actually, believe it or not, PvP balance is actually the best it's ever been as well. You're never going to have, once again, you're never going to have 1v1 balance without, for the exact same reasons as you'll never have PvE balance if you try to do it at the class level. There's too many different things around classes to ever have 1v1 balance without homogenizing the classes and removing class identity. But in terms of group fighting, specifically smaller scale fights like Solaire, PvP balance is the best it's been. It's not perfect. By no means am I trying to say it's perfect and they shouldn't work on it more. But this arena of Solaire There wasn't a single class like every other season that felt like you were fighting Thanos. There was a lot of strong classes, but there was no class that felt like Warrior and Musa in Season 1, or Megu and Sucksage Season 2, or Awakened Drax Season 3, or Suck Zerker and Awakened Zerk Season 4, or which one was Season 5? Was that Deadeye and Awakened Sage? I think it was Deadeye Season 5 and Awakening Sage Season 6. There was nothing that felt like any of those classes in this season of Solaire. There were classes that were strong, but also, even more importantly, not focusing on just the top. Look at the bottom of AOS. Every single season, we had so many classes that felt absolutely worthless in there. And there's still some that do, specifically Shy. But there are so many classes this season that traditionally have done so poorly that actually were decent this season. They weren't meta, but they could actually hold their own. So, even though, yeah, balance is something that needs to always be worked on, and I don't think will ever be perfect, I think this was actually the best season yet. Why is AOS, let's see, not available all the time, ranked, I'm new to the game? Who fucking knows? I don't understand why they do that either. Probably for the same reason why they're not releasing the new Elkstone, because they're worried about player fatigue. I don't know. Maybe because if people come to the game and only play AOS, they don't need to swipe, right? Why would you swipe for progression if all you ever do is play AOS where progression doesn't matter? I don't know what their reasoning is. I just know almost any reasoning you could possibly have is bad reasoning. I would understand maybe a 2-week downtime between seasons, where they quickly do like some, like, updating classes mid-season. I think probably isn't a good thing, unless they're really, really broken for one reason or another, right? Then obviously there are some cases where it should be justified if one class is ruining the experience of everyone else. But I think ultimately they shouldn't be doing a lot of changes during a competitive season. So maybe you can make the argument there should be like a 2-week downtime between seasons where they quickly do some patches and update some classes. But even then, it shouldn't be as nearly as long of a downtime, right? I don't think we need uncapped AOS, to be honest. I think we already have an issue with a limited amount of players in AOS, and if you made an uncapped season of AOS, you would dramatically reduce the amount of players that participate in it. Practically everybody who participated would be in the top 100, because there'd be that... I honestly think there'd be that few people participating. I do feel like they should have... I feel like there should be capped RBF. I also feel that all capped content should just use Solaire gear. Have only one cap, and all that cap is Solaire gear. It's easier to understand if there's only one type of capped content. And there should be a capped RBF available that uses Solaire gear. Yep, all capped content should just be Solaire gear. It's easier for newer players to understand, because like right now, if you're a newer player, you're like, oh yeah, there's capped content like Solaire and Node War. They're like, okay, well tell me about Solaire. You're like, okay, well hit your escape menu, go to your arena Solaire. At the top, you can select your gear, and then you go through this gear window, and that's what you get to wear, right? Those are your only choices. Everybody has the same choices, and that's super easy to understand. But then you tell people, And then there's Cap Node War, and they're like, oh, okay, cool, where's the gear for that? And you're like, oh, well, no, it's you use your regular gear, but, you know, you got to go to the window, and, I wish I wasn't fighting these mobs right now. You go to the map, right? You got to hit the little sword, and then you got to go to the region, and then you mouse over, and it tells you the caps there. And those caps, because those caps exist, that means now you can take off this gear, and you can put on those BSR crystals, and even though it's capped, now you want to get items like Acidel and Neck and Belt or Tabek Belt. So this way you have ways to kind of cheese the caps. It just, like, if you end up having to have specialized gear for capped content, doesn't that technically make it no longer capped? Like, doesn't that make it only partially capped at that point? If you have to have a special gear set for that? Like, I don't know. They should just have one cap. I mean, they've done a decent job at eliminating lots of ways to cheese caps. But as long as there's things that you need to swap to specifically for capped, then it's still technically uncapped in my mind. Takes a lot of hours to get to Node War caps. Well, you got T1 caps, which I'm pretty sure you can do out of seasons, right? I can't imagine it taking a lot of time to reach, like, the lower caps, though. Like T2 caps. Just get rid of fitness stats entirely. I think fitness stats are fine. I think they just need to be family-based. They provide
a super minor benefit. And there's something fun. John, you bitch. I always know when you're trying to rage bait me because you redeem that shit right after. And you know what? You fucking succeeded, you little rat. Tuvala gear is a cap, AOS gear is a cap. Well, now we have two different sets, not only Tuvala gear. You also have the Node War cap. You have
T1 Node Wars. You have the T2 Node Wars, T3 Node Wars. You have the different siege caps, or the one siege cap. You also have, like you said, season caps. You have your first set of trial gear. Now we have a second set of trial gear. You have open world, right, uncapped. You have so many different, like, in every single one of these environments, classes feel different. So how do you ever fucking balance the game when you have 30 different classes already, most of them with 2 different specs, and then on top of that, you have like 7 different fucking game modes that all feel different from each other? Like, fuck off! It's like they're purposely trying to make things harder for themselves. All capped content should just use Solaire gear. RBF should use Solaire gear.
Splaga blaga 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 blom 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 beam 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 spiggity bomb boom yes 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 yes.
Yeah, and the thing that's annoying with RBF, especially the Valencia RBF, but all of the RBFs really, is there's no really good explanations of how they work to new players. Like the debuff circles, you go in there as a new player and you have no idea. So not only are you going in there with a massive gear disadvantage, but the experienced RBF players with a lot of gear know how to use those circles to their advantage. And new players go in there having no idea. And then they get one shot, thinking that it's just about the gear difference. And in some cases it is, but in a lot of cases it's actually the debuff circles that the new players don't understand. They'll sit there and try to defend their own points, and they don't realize that not only were they already at a stat disadvantage, but these circles are making it even larger than it was. That's why I think those debuff circles shouldn't be stat reductions, they should be stat caps. So this way, if you're a newer player and you go in there, it's not going to reduce your DR or evasion because you're already low evasion, right? It should only reduce the defensive stats on if you're above a certain threshold. Because the purpose of those debuff circles are to make it so people don't go in there with a DP build and be unkillable on a spot, right? So just make it so, you know, these DP builds can't reach obnoxious levels of DR or evasion. Debuff circle, question mark? Exactly. So when you're in the Valencia RBF, if you own a point, the circle of influence, and it's funny, it's actually larger than the circle of influence. But the points that you own, if you're near them, they debuff your defensive stats by a significant amount. It's like a shy misty haze on you. It's maybe not quite that powerful, but it fucking feels like it. It is nasty. And the funny thing is that circle actually extends larger than the area of influence too. So when you're walking from point to point, pay attention to the center of your screen. When you're within area where you're going to be debuffed, you will see a shield, like a broken shield, pop up on your screen. That's your indicator that you're being debuffed. Misty Haze, question mark? Yeah, that's a debuff that Shies have, or I guess it's not like it used to be. That would dramatically reduce your stats. Your defensive stats. It was basically like minus 200 gear score. But yeah, there's nothing that explains how those debuff circles work for newer players. So not only do they go in there with a gear disadvantage, they go in there with a massive knowledge disadvantage. What those debuff circles do, since they only debuff the team that owns the point, what that creates is an environment where people who are giga geared like me will put on a bunch of defensive stats, but then go sit on the enemy team's home point, because now I'm super tanky, and any of their players that go to try to take their home point or defend their home point are at a massive stat disadvantage from a defensive side. Which means even though I've tanked my AP to become super tanky, it doesn't matter because the debuff zone is tanking their defensive stats. So I can still kill them in a super defensive setup. So it makes me unkillable while still being able to like two-shot them. I know, this is a sick song. I like this. No, it doesn't reduce your AP. Yeah, Shadow Arena was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Oh, I loved F-Zero as well. I don't think it was necessarily greed, though. I think it was just inexperience. Pearl Abyss was an indie company. People think that like Pearl Abyss has been around long before BDO, but BDO was their first baby. And if they want to be a gaming company going into the future, they need to expand their IPs. Now, I think where the inexperience comment comes from is when Shadow Arena was in BDO, battle royales were super popular in general. We had Player Unknown. You had, there was a variety of battle arenas that were happening at the time. And I think Pearl Abyss saw the success of Shadow Arena in BDO and didn't understand why Shadow Arena was successful in BDO. And they thought that, oh, people just happen to love this game. And they didn't realize that Shadow Arena on its own was a very shallow battle royale. But it was something fun that you could actually do with your friends in BDO that made it popular in BDO. But as a standalone game, it was just a very shallow battle royale. Nobody's going to stop playing any other battle royale to come play BDOs, to come play a standalone Shadow Arena. But they were trying, they thought that they hit something that would be good in the market. They were trying to expand their IP portfolio, right, to try to secure themselves as a gaming company, not just a Black Desert company. And, yeah, it ended up flopping on its face. Any BDO player could have told Pearl Abyss at the time that it would not be a good standalone game the way it was in BDO at the very least. And I think they tried to improve upon it, but yeah, they just didn't understand. Same as future Crimson Desert. Actually, Crimson Desert has potential. Crimson Desert has an amazing environment, a massive environment. The combat feels really good. I got to play it. We will see about the content of it. The little bit that I got to play it felt fun, but I don't know how the quests feel. Like the main story quest, how is the game going to hold your hand through the world? Are you going to feel like you're forced down a path, or is it going to feel like your own open world adventure where you make your own adventure? Crimson Desert is single player. They did say at one point it might have some multiplayer aspects to it, where maybe I guess you can do some co-op with friends. We'll have to see how that plays out. I really hope that they do a collab with BDO. I really hope that they make it so, like, if you link your Crimson Desert account to your Pearl Abyss account and you play through the game, you can earn a title in BDO or maybe an outfit in BDO or something, right? They definitely should do some type of crossover to try to cross-pollinate the games. It would be a massively missed opportunity if they don't do that. But the little bit that I got to play Crimson Desert, it was fun, and all of the content that I've seen from other outlets looks really cool. I think it's going to be a fun game. It's not going to be a replacement to BDO, right? It's just a completely different style of game, but I think it'll be something fun to play on the side. Maybe when we're in that, you know, period where we're waiting for the next ball to come around, right? Crimson Desert releases in March, so it's going to be 3 months after the Calpheon Ball in 2 weeks here. There'll probably be not much to do in BDO again at that time because we'll have experienced everything they released, and it'll be a good time to kind of take a break and play Crimson Desert until Heidel Ball comes around. You as content creator, you could rise your voice and maybe listen, or at least taking... Is my microphone too quiet, or are you referring to me like making these comments to Pearl Abyss? Because Pearl Abyss is in my channel all the time. I've said all these things directly to the team. I think all of this stuff, a lot of us partners have all repeated to them. So... there's definitely not a lack of effort on our behalf, if that's what you're referring to. If you're referring to maybe my microphone being too quiet, I can fix that. But I know, like, a lot of what I just said, I've heard Biseptimus say it, I've heard Joyce say it, I've heard, like, practically every single partner stream that I hang out in, they've said similar things at one point. So... we hope that they listen to us. They certainly hear us, but whether they listen is a different thing, right? And also, I think it's important to recognize that ultimately, even when we are talking to the community managers that hang out with us, you know, they can forward the feedback from the community, because that's what the community manager job is, right? They're the connection point between the community and the team. But just because the community managers might be repeating everything we say at a one-to-one verbatim, like, that doesn't mean that the devs are going to listen to what the feedback we're giving to the community managers or what the project managers are going to do, right? We just got to hope that the project managers, the people who are in charge with making these decisions about the direction of the game, listen to us. That's all we can do. But I have full confidence that, like, Enlave, Laffy, Ronin, Etsu, Underfoe, Corruption, all of these CMs that you see in streams, depending on the time of the day, will be different CMs. I have no doubt in my mind that they listen. They definitely listen. But, like I said, are when those team members that I just listed forward our feedback to upper management, the question is, are they being listened to? Right? When Enlave forwards our feedback to the next person in the chain, is that person listening to Enlave? That's where I have my doubts. But there's no way to know for sure. They actually listen and know, just do stuff just because they hear from the community. They have to validate and analyze deeply the patterns and present into the complaints. Oh, absolutely, right? The community, us, we have a really bad habit of just looking at things at a surface level, right? And not realizing the unintended consequences of the things that we ask for. A couple of examples that I can make off the top of my head, is once upon a time, crystals went in your gear and you couldn't freely swap them around. The community begged and begged and begged to have crystal swaps. Well, we got our crystal swaps, which was great. It massively increased our PvE power because now we were able to put in PvE focused crystals and swap back and forth at any time. This then created an environment where PA could make harder PvE content. But in the process of making PvE content that's tailored around you using your PvE crystals, that means if now you're in a PvP setup, you can't grind, right? That was an unintended consequence of that. So now if you get jumped while grinding, you can't defend yourself. That was an unintended consequence of something we asked for. Another example of that is us begging for PvE balance, right? They couldn't do that at the class level without removing class identity and homogenizing all the classes. So the only other way to do it was to put 5% caps on anything. PvE balance isn't perfect, but it's the best it's ever been. But the unintended consequence of that is progression in grind spots feels a lot less meaningful than it used to be, right? These are unintended consequences of the things that we've asked for. And PA is doing their best when we as a community are asking for things to try to look at unintended consequences of those things we ask for. And ask themselves, is that worth it? I promise you, if Pearl Abyss listened to everything the community asked for, this game would already be dead. No doubt. No doubt in my mind for a second, because I don't think people realize that this is a global game, and every region plays the game very differently. And in the process of pleasing everyone, they're going to please nobody. The game will be so diluted and boring. Localizing the game for each region, too, dramatically slows down the patch process as well. Take a look at the early days of BDO when we had Red Fox for South America, we had Cacao for North America and EU. You had a different publisher for every region, and each region was being localized. The amount of patches and stuff we were receiving back then were significantly slower, and most of the stuff they announced never ended up getting out to us. Must be nice to be a gear lord and running calcs. I also run XP Lightstones.
Emotional damage.
I think if we let the community vote and whatever was the most popular voted, Pearl Abyss would do to the game, I don't think you guys realize the road that would bring us down. If you pay attention to like all of the things you constantly hear, most of the time, people would ask, not directly, but by bit, this game would slowly turn more and more into WoW. Because people don't like change. They have their comfy little playstyles that they've learned in other games, specifically WoW. And they want games to mimic that. And this game would slowly evolve into just being another WoW clone if you listened to the mass amount of players. Duo and trio spots will be fun. Well, hopefully that's Gyfin and Miramok. Hopefully Gyfin's a 2-man spot, Miramok's a 3-man spot. We do need some group content. We should all go play WoW. No, what I'm saying is, Pearl Abyss should recognize they have a niche demographic and recognize that this demographic is never going to be as large as WoW, but the more and more the game transforms into a clone of WoW, the less and less reasons there are for people to come play it instead of WoW. I mean, you guys are all great. I'm sure every single person in my chat, since you guys were smart enough to come here and hang out with me, you clearly have great ideas. So you guys, all your ideas are great. But I think the majority of the community of the game would ask for really shitty things that nobody wants, and we would get nowhere. The game should be growing, not dying. The game's not growing or dying. It has peaks and valleys, but it's just been spinning its wheels. I could bring up the graph again and show you guys. But it's been pretty steady for years and years and years. Stagnant is, yeah, probably the best way to define it. They need more meaningful content to keep people playing longer if they want to start growing. But the current content that they release every 6 months is just enough to get it by to the next 6 months. It's to the point where the first 2 months after a content release feels great, the second 2 months starts to feel boring, and the last 2 months feels like shit. And then we get another ball, another patch, and then we repeat the cycle over again. There have always been people doing AFK activities in BDO. Now fishing is the most popular one, but there was tons of people AFK training, horses, AFK processing. People were even AFK fishing back then. There's always been people AFKing in BDO. Yeah, processing isn't something you do overnight anymore. When I was referencing that was like 2016, 2017. And then when they added the ability to... was it the Manosphere that removed overnight processing? Because you could just process too fast? I can't remember what it was specifically. I think it was that. But yeah, at that point, yeah, it was no longer a fully AFK activity because your inventory would fill up too much. If they ended up allowing you to process not only directly from your storage, but also put the resources back into the storage, then you would have overnight processing again. You did it for the love of getting the electricity bill higher. I don't know about that. Oh, shit. Oh, I should go after this AFK phase. Yeah, when you think about it, right, when you grind, I'm making like 3 bill an hour or more. When I AFK fish overnight, I may be averaging like 1.5 bill over the course of a week, right? Some nights are more, some are about 1 bill. Probably averages out but about 1.5 bill. So really overnight, I'm only getting like 15 or 20 minutes worth of a grind. Maybe 30 minutes of a grind overnight, right? On average. That's practically the same as we were making back then with overnight processing, right? Back then, we were grinding, what, 10 million silver an hour? And overnight processing would earn you just a couple million silver. Or maybe 10 million silver, I mean. It's all about the relative difference between them. Once you expanded it to crates and stuff, right? Get your workshops going. That also depends on your gear and knowledge of the game. Yeah, but that's a variable that doesn't matter because your gear and knowledge of the game mattered just as much back then as it does now. So it's a completely unrelated variable. It affected both equally, whether it how much it matters now and how much it mattered then. Right? We're talking about the relative difference between how that knowledge mattered then and now. This is Awakening Sage. What are my thoughts on Scholar? Scholar is a, man, I love the way she swings that two-handed hammer. She's kind of thick. She kind of needs those glutes, though, right? To kind of give a lower center of mass to swing that hammer around the way she does. She's a strong 1v1 class, a strong Solaire class. As the fights get larger and larger, she becomes a bit less useful. Like, you don't see a lot of scholars in, like, Node War and Siege. She's a solid grinder. I don't think they ever did painting as a life skill, but yeah, there was supposed to be a climbing life skill at one point. There was a lot of things that they've announced over the years that just never came. Honestly, how stupid would a climbing life skill even be? Let's be honest. I don't think that would provide any value to the game anyways. When is the Sovereign weapon glow change coming? I hope this ball. That's one of the things I want. Not just the Sovereign weapons, but the Adana armors too. We should be able to change the color of the glow. They were going to do it with Black Stars back in the day, but I understand why they didn't, considering they're just about to replace all the Black Stars, but now that we have a full set of glowing armor and a full set of glowing weapons, where the fuck is it? I don't even care if they charge us money to do it. I fucking want it. Elkstone revamp? That's all supposed to be coming this ball. I'd love something other than yellow. Yeah, luckily for me, right? Awakening Sage, it fits for Sage. So I'm kind of lucky in that department, but man, I'd like to be able to dye that shit purple. I wish I could dye my ability effects too. Let me have purple lightning, baby. Once again, charge me money for that. I don't want to spend money on fucking boxes for progression. Fuck this bullshit. I have no interest in buying progression in the game. But you know what? You put cosmetics in the game for me to change the color of my abilities and change my weapons and shit like that. Oh, fuck yeah. I will spend money on that shit. My expectations in regard to rewards, I think they're going to give us a either a Tet Fallen God or a base Adonia selection box where you get to pick your Tet Fallen God or Adonia armor. That's going to come with also a fifth option of picking Adonia stones for people who don't need armors. I think they will reduce the pities on Fallen God now that we actually have had a replacement for Fallen God for the last 6 months. I think they will definitely give away crons. They'll definitely give away hammers. Maybe they'll give away a horse. They'll probably give away loot scrolls. All of the same stuff they give away everyone. Yeah, that's what I just said. Reducing Fallen God pities. Do you think Awakened Sage is better than Suck Sage? Depends at what. Suck Sage is better at large scale. Awakened Sage is better at 1v1 grinding and smaller scale fights. Free obliterating? No, definitely not a free obliterating. Tet Fallen God, not Pen. There's no way they would give away a free obliterating. The ball also falls closer to Christmas, so the rewards will be better. No, this is the same time every year. It's been like the first, second week of December every year we have the Calpheon Ball. Oh. Yeah, this Heidel Ball was kind of a big deal, though. Normally, like, traditionally, Heidel Ball... Okay, traditionally, the Calpheon Ball is where they do all the major announcements of what they are planning on working on the following year. And then the Heidel Ball is kind of more of a community service thing, where they run a fun little in-person event while doing an update on the progression that the progress they've been making for the year. But this year's Heidel Ball felt like a Calpheon Ball. It wasn't just a progress update and community service. It was like a whole-on Calpheon Ball. So I don't think that necessarily means that this Calpheon Ball is going to be even better than the Heidel Ball. It might be just the same. If anything, it could mean potentially it's worse. Maybe they're deciding on flipping it. Maybe they want Heidel Ball to be their main event for the year, and Calpheon Ball to be just the progress update. But I don't know. I'm hoping that we get more every year. We do need, like, what the Calpheon Ball is traditionally felt like, and the previous Heidel Ball felt like. We do need that every 6 months. Like I said, we need more rapid, meaningful updates. If they want to stop this game from feeling like it's all constantly on life support, they need more every 6 months. So, I'm hoping. I'm coping. But, chat, I appreciate you all. Big shout out to Mr. Biceptimus for the raid today. Thank you all for coming and hanging out. Good luck with your enhances and your grinds and all of that shit. But I need to head out and pick up my daughter in 20 minutes, so I'm going to actually get a little bit of a jump start on my dinner. Try to figure out what I'm going to cook and get it ready. I'm going to send you guys over to a EU
I haven't
streamer.
played the game for 5 months now. Many dollars behind am I like 1,000 maybe.
Yo, what's up, Wabs? Yo, I mentioned your name today. I was going over my Twitch recap, and it said your most loyal viewers, and you were in there. I was like, damn, I feel like I haven't seen him a whole lot in the last little while. That's all right. Calpheon Ball is going to be so sick. Wabs will be back, baby. But yeah, anyway, sorry, chat. I'm going to head out. I'm going to send you guys over to, I can't pronounce her name, IOEU. Go say hi. Unfortunately, I'm going to warn you now, she is going to scream in your ears, so make sure you turn down the stream volume. But thanks for hanging out. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And make sure you guys say hi. Make sure you guys be nice. We'll catch you later.